Hi guys, welcome to Simple Programming. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Redis as a messaging queue with Spring integration components. So what I have here is a simple Spring Boot application. So I'll show you, I created a configuration file. There's nothing here yet. And there is a controller. It's going to be a REST controller. It's going to be a post mapping. So we are going to accept a request and try to send it through the Redis queue. Okay, and I have an object, a student object, which has ID, first name, last name, age, and gender. The application.yaml doesn't have anything, just the server.port. I'll quickly show you my pom.xml. So my pom.xml, I have the Spring Boot parent tags there, and then I have the starter webkit here, the redis.clients for the Redis. Then I have the Spring integration Redis artifact that has been added as a dependency here, and then pretty much the default things that come with the creation of the project. So let us quickly jump into and let's create the endpoints, and then let's try to send a request. Let us see how the request goes and comes back to you. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a messaging gateway. So let me create a interface which is called as message gateway. Okay, I'm going to annotate this with at the rate of messaging gateway. So at the rate of messaging gateway is acts as an interface that serves as a proxy abstraction over the messaging structure, and you will have all your method signatures here. So in our case, what we are going to have is like we are going to have a generic method that doesn't return anything, and I have to annotate it with the gateway annotation. And let me also mention the request channel. So I created my request channel. So when someone uses this interface to send a message, they'll be sending their message to this input channel. So you can have a number of method signatures here depending upon your needs. For this example, we're going to have only one signature. Next, let's go and configure our configuration file. So first, let us use enable integration, and then let's use integration component scan, say spring spring boot. So at the rate of enable integration is useful when you have multiple config files in your application along with the spring integration configurations. So in this case, I'm going to have only one configuration. You don't have to add it, but for the betterment of understanding this example, right, I'm just adding it here. And then I have the integration component scan. This is used for class path scaling, just like at the rate of component scan, but restricted to Spring components, where at the rate of component scan cannot reach. So in this case, you don't have to add this because you're going to have only one configuration with Spring integration components configuration in it. But for the betterment of understanding, right, I'm going to add it here. So then the next thing that we have to do is like we have to create the Redis connection factory for Redis. So basically what you'll do is like you'll have to set the host name here. For example, say localhost, and then set port. You'll be setting up the port here, but since it's going to be the local host and it's going to be the default port, in this case you don't have to set it. It will be automatically recognized. So I'm just going to create this bean right here. Okay, so then let's create our channel. So for this example, I'm going to use a direct channel. Let's say receiver channel. All right. So the basic setup has been done, and in order to use Redis, right, you have to make use of the Redis queue message-driven endpoint. So this endpoint is a specific endpoint, especially for Spring integration, to be used with the Spring integration components. So you'll have to create a bean of Redis queue message-driven endpoint. So let's create one. So we have this endpoint here. So this Redis queue messaging endpoint takes in two arguments. So one is a string and the other is the Redis connection factory. So we have the connection factory here. Let's pass in this connection factory here. And then the string is nothing but your queue name. So here I'm going to hard code it, but in a regular case, right, you might be getting this from the property file or you might be getting it from the application itself. So depends upon the use case. So then I'll have the endpoint. Try to set the output channel. So the output channel is going to be the receiver channel. And then return the endpoint. Okay, it's output channel name. Okay, so the configuration is done. So next what we have to do is we have to create a class that has the service actuators and other stuffs. So let me create a package called listener, and then let me create a class. It's going to be a message listener. Alright, so let's add in the component annotation here, and then what we have to do here is, so let's take a look at our message gateway. It's going to come to input channel. So let's create a service actuator for the input channel. So our input channel, the input channel for this particular service actuator is going to be from the input channel, and then let's say it's going to get a message and then return a message. So let's say receive from service. Okay. So we have to return this. All right. Let's put in a system out, and let's say result from service. So from here it has to go to an output channel. So now let us send it to our Redis channel. In my next video, let us see how to send this message to the actual Redis queue. Thank you.